When I first started doing these weekly Let's Talk Squash videos, I kind of had like 50 questions that I'd already planned out. And I knew that things would, pop up or appear occasionally, and I'd add them. But clearly, I didn't think about the pandemic. Nobody thinks about the pandemic. Or some people did, but okay. So that's really changed what's been happening in squash, and it's terrible. And it's terrible for a lot of reasons for a lot of people. And I'm not just talking about squash. People have died. A lot of people have died. People have lost their jobs. People have lost their businesses. It's a terrible thing. And sports are suffering, some more than others. And I think that squash is almost like the worst one. It seems that when you think about all the places that you can do other sports, I mean, you can be outside for many sports, and those sports have been allowed to continue. And there are lots of indoor sports, and I suppose that, martial arts and judo and stuff, those are going to be like a long time until people can get on the mats, and grappling and, MMA and, Brazilian jiu-jitsu and all of those things where there's like real contact. So maybe squash isn't the worst one. But for squash clubs, this is just a terrible time, and you hear of so many going under in chains, and then there's the sort of the confused advice that we're being given. People can go and train in gyms, and they can go and do Zumba classes and things like this, but they can't play squash, and they can't play squash on their own. Just crazy. Anyway, so this week's question is, what do you think the future of squash is going to be, business-wise? I'm not talking about, how the game will change or, all of those things. But, do you think that we will significantly suffer? Do you think that a lot of clubs are going to continue to struggle and many more close? I mean, I do. I think that this is something that we are, as a squash community, are really going to struggle to survive. In many cases, we're going to struggle to survive. And what we had before, we're going to be looking back and think, wow, those were great days, but it's terrible. Are you in an area where clubs are closed? I've noticed that my local Decathlon, which is like a big sports brand in Europe, no longer sells any squash equipment. They don't sell balls, they don't sell rackets, and they've significantly reduced lots of other sports as well that they're selling. But then they've increased other sports like fishing and hunting and stuff like that. But I mean, what I'm trying to say is that I've noticed, even in an area, I live in the Basque Country, northern Spain, where squash isn't huge, I've noticed a change. So again, I'm rambling. I'm sorry. I don't script these. I just talk. What is the future of squash? What is the future of squash for you personally? What is the future of squash in your area? What is the future of squash in your particular facility or club? What is the prognosis for squash? Are we destined to just get smaller and smaller? In which case, the chances of getting into the Olympics are just receding into the distance. Tell me your thoughts. This is a subscription button. Subscribe, come on. This is a playlist of all of the other Let's Talk Squash videos, and this is a video that YouTube thinks is a good fit for you based on what you've been watching. And remember, do something every single day to improve your squash. See ya.